Hi everyone. Today we're going to paint this beautiful lavender field landscape. And I've tried to use colors that are easily available in a beginner palette. So let's get started. I'll name the colors as we go and also give you some alternatives, but don't worry about having the exact same ones. The best part of painting is experimenting, so it's a good idea to use whatever colors you feel will work best for you. Now let's begin and apply clean water to the entire sky and paint it with cerulean blue. You can honestly use any blue you want for the sky, as it's hard to go wrong here. But here's a tip before you start. Try it on a scrap piece of paper. You'll see how different blues can completely change the mood of your painting. A darker blue might give you a rainy day feel, but a lighter one will make it look like a beautiful sunny day. Try your best to paint around the cottage and the trees. I'm assuming that the light is coming from the right, so this painting will overall be darker towards the left. This is a very basic beginner-friendly sky, so if you're just starting with watercolors, give this one a try. Once you've painted this, I encourage you to challenge yourself and make another painting. Keep everything same, but make a different sky. You can level it up by experimenting with different colors like orange or pink for a sunset, or maybe add some clouds for a rainy day. The possibilities are endless. Just try this version first. Then feel free to experiment as much as you like. I'll also do a little bit of blue in the trees to suggest the sky showing through. Don't worry if the gaps end up too big. Since trees are green, adding blue is a safe choice because you can easily paint over it with green to make it look like a natural shadow or another tonal element. Let the sky dry, and meanwhile, we'll paint the field by first applying clean water to this entire section. Let's use the wet and wet technique here. Apply yellow ochre in the gaps, then quickly paint the rows with purple. I've made this color by mixing ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. If you don't have these colors, try to find a warm blue and a cool red. Something like primary blue and a permanent rose can give similar results. Just try to use more blue than red in your mixture. As you paint, keep your colors lighter near the light source and in the distance to make the foreground feel closer. So add more pigment to the front while the paint is still wet. Now, while it's still damp, Carefully cover the top section of your painting and add some green splatters. First, let everything dry completely. Now, to create the distant trees, mix sap green and ultramarine blue. Use a very dilute mixture as we want them to appear far away. Let's work on the closer trees while this is drying. For this one, I'm using sap green. Paint it with a few gaps, and while it's still wet, add a darker value in some areas to create shadows. And for this tree, I've mixed sap green and cadmium yellow. While it's still wet, add some sap green to it. I forgot to paint this area, so apply clean water here and do a light value of purple. Now, let's do another layer for the field. We need to darken up the rows from the left, and to achieve a softer edge, I'll apply water to the right of each row and do a darker value to the other side. Make sure to keep the background lighter. If the paint spreads, lift it up with a clean, dry brush. And don't worry, it's fine to add a bit of pigment on the right side for a softer transition. Just be sure to keep it lighter than the left. A helpful trick is to paint the front half of the row, then use a clean, damp brush to gently pull the paint towards the back. Now, apply clean water to the right of the next row. Use a slightly darker purple than before and paint it towards the left. Remember not to paint all the way to the end. Instead, use a clean, damp brush to pull the paint back. And finally, make sure this color transition is smooth. While it's still wet, add ultramarine blue on the side. Repeat the same steps for all the other rows, and use darker value of purple on each subsequent row, because the ones that are far from us will appear lighter. While this is drying, let's add some darker green to create shadows on the trees. Now wait for everything to dry completely, then cover the upper section and add splatters with the purple mix. While these splatters are drying, I'm going to paint the cottage, being careful that I don't smudge them. And I used cadmium yellow and yellow ochre mixture for it. I was a little impatient today, so I started to paint some of these bushes before the cottage was fully dry and the paint mixed up. So I decided that I need to wait for it to completely dry before moving forward. I'm painting the roof with burnt sienna. Now mix small amount of Payne's Gray and Ultramarine Blue and use it to paint shadows on each of the lavender rows. Let this dry, and meanwhile use the same color to make some shadows in the cottage. Once everything is completely dry, let's add a little detail. Using that same purple mix, paint some strokes similar to grass. And to create a sense of depth, make sure the strokes are larger in the front and get smaller as you move back. Now you can repeat this for all the other rows. Just remember to only fill up to about halfway. paint the trunk of the tree with burnt umber or any brown of your choice. Now, for the shadows, I'm mixing burnt sienna and Payne's gray. But don't worry, if you don't have these, you can use a mix of red and green instead. The goal is just to get a good, neutral color for our shadows. Use this mix to paint the shadows on the right side of the gaps and also the tree shadows onto the cottage. Finally, add some highlights with a white pen or opaque white paint. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials like this, and I'll see you next time.